I've always been curious how Lara Croft would fare against the Tomb of Horrors. I mean, she'd probably end up dying in many ways that you can like see her dying, but whatever. This is way too an esoteric joke. This is Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's developed by Crystal Dynamics, Feral Interactive, Squeenix, etc. The port was brought to you by the fine folks at Feral Interactive. You can pick it up for about $60-$70 if you're in Canada, because fuck Canada. What is it? 1 year after the events of Tomb Raider, archaeologist Lara Croft is struggling to explain her experience of the supernatural Yamatai and appears to be suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Looking for answers, she turns to her late father's research into the lost city of Kitezh, or Kitezh, and the promise of Kitezh. Yes. Wasn't that like Claudia Black's character in Stargate? Anyways, and the promise of immortality. This is ChairQAsition. This is where we take a game, we talk about it, we play it, we throw some chairs at it, maybe do a little bit of quality assurance that the developers should have done before pushing it out to prod. We do that by using the chairs. Hallowed be them. 1 means that it's shit. 2 means that it's okay. 3 means that it's pretty good. And 4 chairs means that it's amazeballs. And we apply these to our categories of doom, mixed with working shiny sounds controls and fun. So, Ben, you had a bit of an adventure getting this game up and running. So why don't you take off mixed with working?
All right.
Also take off your clothes.
Oh man, it's getting hot in here. So you might think I did give this a go, man. I tried this out on our production box, which is a Ubuntu 17. Basically everything that's in the recommended system requirements to a T.
Minus the
for the Ryzen processor.
Yeah, man, because it only works on Intel processors. That's the thing. It really didn't work all that well. I'm going to say this. Once I got it up and running. Now, I'm not running a bizarre moon setup. I know you're going to say, hey, Vin, but you have a 980 and a 770 in the same box with 5 monitors. That's cray-cray. Not to X. It's not. It's pretty bog standard. And you would have an argument. You would if the 531, 6 of which are Vulkan titles, didn't work flawlessly because issues. It's got a couple, man. Just getting it to launch. In order to get it to launch without freeze framing, jumping in and out of like every little animation, I have to kill Compton, the compositor. That's the only way to get it up and running. And it's also an issue, like if I try to use XFCE4's built-in compositor, same thing happens under GNOME 3. I tested that out. And just no joy on that, but I was able to get it running windowed because I can only run it windowed 1080p, which like, well, that's not too bad. It's like 3840 by 2160. It's a bit shit. But once I got it up and running, it performed decent. I mean, it's using Vulkan, averaging like 87 FERPs at 1080p. So good on that. And that's on high. But I gotta say works with a bunch of air quotes around it because, you know, I'm like got 4 hours of playtime and most of that is testing things that I've been on the horn with Feral about over the past week. And unfortunately, at this point in our relationship, we're back down to like, have you tried disabling the Steam overlay? It's like, motherfuckers, really? That's the thing. I will say this. You'll see this in the Steam forums, and I think you'll see this in Discord and chat realm. There's people talking about, and I think we've all experienced it at some point. This will lock your box up. It will happen. I experienced it like right when I first dived into the water, like at the beginning of the game, that happened. And another time around a bear, it happened. So I've taken to testing it with a tablet SSH'd into the box because getting to a terminal can be a bit dodgy when that happens. But technically I was able to get it up and running, and other people have not had these issues. Not these particular issues, but there are issues with memory leaks, and everyone, I think, has experienced the Vulkan lock at some point. But I'll throw it a solid 2, because technically it does run.
Yeah, it can get a little bit crashy on max settings, and it's pretty unplayable at UHD. Hearing Ven's report about the performance under the Ryzen system leads me to believe that you might be able to stably hold above 30 at UHD. For me, it was hovering around 25. Maybe it peaked at about like 33, but I didn't have that. I didn't have the issue with the compositor. I was able to play it in 1080p full screen. No real issues. Getting about 67 frames a second on average there. So look, the Vulkan standard of look at Laura. I had that happen too. That's good. Some Tomb Horror shit. Sorry, audio listeners, you get screwed. Anyways, what I be saying was that I think the Vulcan adage of more cores equals better holds true for this game. So you might want that. You might want some of the new Intel CPUs with 6 to 8 cores, or one of the AMD CPUs that just gives you 8 cores. Anyways, I did have one freeze in around the same time that Ven did when you first fight the bear for real, and fortunately for me, it crashed immediately after I killed it. And when I loaded the game back, it remembered that I had killed it, so I didn't have to go through the fight again. Good on the game for that. Beyond a couple like weird random crashes for no reason that like aren't really reproducible, no real issues. So I'll give it a solid 3 chairs. There's definitely some wonk with it needs to be addressed in the coming patches. Pedro, or I'll give it 3 chairs on Fedora 26, 64-bit, GTX 980, and i7 6700K. Now, Pedro.
Yeah, I didn't get any of the crashes or the freezes. I did see after I killed the bear, the game did freeze for just a teeny tiny little bit, but then it resumed. So I'm guessing whatever it is with that specific area. That's why at least everyone here seems to have experienced something with it. The thing that's really sticks out to me is the shift between regular play, where on my end with the GTX 1080 and the Ryzen 5 1600 on Ubuntu 1604 is the I'm getting 80 to it varies between 70 and 80 FERPs on very high, and it's jarring to see the transition between, oh, I'm getting a really smooth frame rate, I can play the game really well, and then a cutscene starts 30 FPS. Fuck you. Yeah, that's about as jarring as you'd expect. Also, this footage you're looking at right now, that took a bit of doing, because I tried what I usually do, which is just kill the Kwin compositor and just do the recording like that, because that seems to work for most games. Not this one, because the moment I clicked into the game window, OBS would say, yeah, no, I can't hold a steady 60. I can't even hold a steady 30. So Ven suggested try using NVEnc. So that's NVEnc, and it seemed to hold the frame rate a bit better, but it managed to garble up the audio in the recording. So, well, it's a good thing we don't do game audio, because that's no good. So 3 chairs from me.
All right, well, that's 2 chairs for mixed with the working. How about the shiny and sounds? I think this is going to be the shortest section out of all of them, maybe. Here's the thing. AAA from 2 years ago, still really, really good looking. Professional voice acting is professional. The soundtrack is just kind of your generic random orchestral sweeps and predictable game music. But here's the deal. Squeenix, ever since they started doing 3D shit in the PS2 era, they've kind of been the benchmark for 3D cutscenes, and this holds true. This looks like it could be a movie. I think I'd rather watch this than the upcoming Tomb Raider movie, to be perfectly honest. So I'm gonna give us 4 chairs for the looks and the sounds, because it's just, well, the production quality is there. You cannot deny it. Period.
Pedro?
Yeah, it looks AAA, it sounds AAA. I'm pretty sure I could leverage quite a great deal of criticism at the AAA games industry and AAA games themselves, but aesthetics is where they shine. 4 chairs.
Yeah, man, I actually find myself agreeing with Pedro and Jordan. Well, actually, Jordan more than Pedro, because that 30 frames per second.
The profit is empty. Hail empty.
Those cutscenes are brutal. They're very jarring, considering most of the cinematics take place in game. So it's why is this? The only thing I can think is oh, this was on consoles, and these particular scenes were really fucking chuggy on the consoles, so we had to do the video versions, which are at 30. Outside of that, yeah, it looks like an upgraded version of the Tomb Raider, which we had, 2 years ago now? And
yep.
That's nothing bad. It looks all right. I mean, hell, some of the in-game cinematic areas that are done with the engine verge on Uncanny Valley. So it's whoa, okay, that's looking pretty good. Voice work, that's what you expect from AAA. The titles, very passable, above passable, hell, borderline good. I'll throw in a solid 4 with my Chair Patriots on this one.
All right, well, that's 4 chairs for the shiny and the sounds. How about the controls, Pedro?
Well, the controls, well, I said earlier that aesthetics is where AAA games shine. Turns out having a lot of people working and a lot of quality assurance and a lot of everything else, they kind of need to get the controls down. So controls, when it comes to AAA games, they shine there too. There are some exceptions, yes, but in Rise of the Tomb Raider, or Rise of the More Tomb Raiding, it's... No, they're fine. They're absolutely fine. I ended up just playing with a mouse and keyboard because I'm a subscriber to the whole PC gamer master race thing, sort of, kind of, maybe. And yeah, no, 4 chairs.
Yeah, so I've been playing with the DualShock 4 just because I like this better than the Xbox controller. It feels nicer in my hand. So game has native DualShock 4 controller support. Unfortunately, and this is not the game's fault by any stretch of the imagination, Steam Input likes to say, hey, I'm going to treat you as a Steam controller whether you like it or not. And if you want to fix that, you got to go into big picture mode to shut off that behavior, which is really annoying because I'd rather just do it through the regular Steam interface. I don't want to have to go through all the Steam big picture rigmarole to like find the one menu in that one freaking section. I know where it is now in every game, so I can just zoom there, but it's still annoying as balls. Once you get that all done, everything works out of the box. All the button prompts are correct. The one problem I have, and it's just a standard one, is that shooting with keyboard or with not with keyboard and mouse, without keyboard and mouse using the joysticks is fucking terrible. So I found myself switching to controller and mouse for the shooting segments. And after a while, like the game, let's be real, the game is 100% playable with just keyboard and mouse. You're not going to run into any issues with that. Even with the auto aim enabled, I still found that shooting with the controller is really, really bad. And the thing is, with this sort of game, I kind of want to chill back. And I was actually hoping to stream it to my Steam box and just play it on the couch. But that was not going to happen just because of the controller issues. So I'm going to ding it a chair for that. So it gets 3 from me.
I really don't have any complaints, man. I mean, I worked out of the box with the Areola controller, the Steamy controller. And I was happy to see that. No issues. All the prompts showed up. Everything worked because I was like, oh, man, do I have to sit and configure this bullshit? Which sometimes you do. Not the case. And I was pleased to see that because with the Xclone controller, with the D-pad, the hat sticks, man, I remember trying to play the just Tomb Raider. It was miserable. I couldn't aim. I was genuinely playing with the controller until I got to a shooty part. Then I'd grab the dribble and poop, pop. I was like, but with the Steam controller, I'm saying there's a chance, man. I'm saying there's a chance. You know, it's, I can learn, not necessarily to get good, but with the auto aim half-ass assist, I think I could pull this off in the time I was able to spend with the game. So I'll say good on that. I mean, the Areola controller, that pad gave a nipple. It gives me a fighting chance, and I might become proficient with that. You know, admittedly, right now, every time I have to pull out a bow or the gun, I am like subconsciously saying, all y'all's asses would in fact be the dead if I was using a dribble right now. But yeah, no complaints. This is meant to be played with a controller, whatever you like. That's a good thing about PC gaming. Now, you can definitely play this with a keyboard and mouse because it's PC gaming, bitches. It's all about choice. Nothing's the right answer. The right answer is whatever works for you, and I'm definitely going to say that was the case with a Steam controller. Right in 4.
All right. Well, that is 4 chairs, or that's 3 chairs for the control segment. How about fun, Ben? Did you have fun?
Oh,
how's your side doing?
Man, listen, man. I finally get to revisit our dear friend Laura. I'm injured on my right side, Croft. How I've missed you, girlfriend. Call me. Healing berries. That's the thing in the game. You'll find out about that. It's Laura's first reaction to everything to make a fucking bow. I mean, that's...
To be fair, this one was already there. She just needed to string it.
String it? I don't know. She's like, oh shit, I got a flat tire on the car. Better make a bow or better string the bow. I don't know. It's not my first thing.
Better drink my own piss.
Hey man, Bear Grylls, get shit done. I mean, if you played the Tomb Raider 2013, it's a bit more of that, but not in a bad way at all. You know, I was kind of worried when you hear the hubbub and the game does introduce, you know, crafting elements, but it's basically go collect shit, hit, and make, which almost seems borderline unnecessary. But hey, man, it's like crafting without all the extra steps. What I can say is I want like OG Tomb Raider 1, DOS Tomb Raider, to be able like to bring that back, because she could go like straight up like Kung Fu Jimmy Chow with the backflips and just the fun maneuver. You had fun just maneuvering Laura way back in the day. Not so much now. Time does us all in, unfortunately. What I will say is this. I mean, it looks like a really good game. I mean, for a 2-year-old game, coming up maybe on 3 years, it still holds up. It looks great. It's one of the better looking games on Linux currently. But I got to say, it's definitely worth, if you catch it, because it goes on sale all the time for $19.95 or somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. Definitely worth that. But you might genuinely want to wait for a point release. Not necessarily. If you go to the Steam forums, go to technical support, because I know people are listening to this for confirmation bias and like, it works on my end, there's nothing wrong with it. Read the forums. I mean, those are issues with hard locks, memory leaks, which I did not experience any memory leaks. It seems to hold right around 8 gigs, and Farrell recommends 12. But I hope to get all that resolved. But yeah, I primarily say, you know, I couldn't have a good time with it because system locks, and anything that does system locks, no. I mean, semi-hard, even if you can escape them, because I got to say, having like just getting to the point mentally, it's like, okay, I better go get a tablet, set it up down here, SSH in, so I can kill the game. And yeah, that's not my definition of fun. I'm sorry. So yeah, just one share on that.
Yeah, so I mean, like Ben said, if you played the original Tomb Raider or not the original, the 2013 Tomb Raider, the original reboot of the original of the reboot of the original of the reboot, you're not in for anything entirely new. They added a couple more survival mechanics and a little light Minecraft mode, but let's be real, the real meat of the game is the exploration, and that's honestly where the fun is. I'm super glad the game starts you out just straight up raiding tombs, because the last game was a little short on that. But seriously, exploring everything, like swinging around, climbing, detecting stuff, feels super great. It's fun. I had a blast. The combat is like your bog standard over the shoulder boulder holder shooter, but every time I get into a fight, it's just like, okay, I got to get through this because there's more exploring to do. And the areas are huge. There's so much shit to do in them. Mm-hmm. There's like bonus tombs, there's challenges, there's just so much stuff. And they actually give you a reason to backtrack, because if you're into the story stuff, you upgrade your language skills as time goes on. And like, there are places that you can't initially translate, and you can sort of Metroidvania your way back and sort of get a larger picture of the plot here, which I was kind of into. And this is just me, or they're really trying to make that ice pick Laura's crowbar, or whatever your tool of choice is, because like, yeah, in the scene following this, or you just saw like the cutscene with Laura's friend and her getting choked. There's another scene that comes up where I'm pretty sure Laura's just about to straight up Trotsky a motherfucker. And I'm like, oh man, that'd be cool. Mm-hmm. Melee combat in this is not the greatest thing. Like, I get that it's supposed to be the last resort, but a lot of like the QTE stuff revolves around your melee combat abilities. And that's honestly like my biggest problem with this game is the QuickTime events. I remember when Legend of Dragoon came out for PlayStation 1, and they had the QTEs for like all the combat, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's so revolutionary. It's like, no, I didn't want to do that. And there are a ton of times, especially like when you transition out of cinematics, because all the cinematics are in game, where you're like, oh shit, I'm in control. Oh, I died. Oh, it would have been nice of you to tell me that, game, so that I could pick up the controller after this 20-minute long cutscene.
I gotta say, I agree. You get acclimated to like, okay, I can just put the controller down because this thing's going to go on a journey, and you want to check out the story. But yeah, that immediate like, oh yeah, by the way, the game's back. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah, and then you get eaten by a bear and impaled on spikes, or like a wolf comes and like shoots you with his handgun. I don't know. But here's the thing. I'm enjoying my time with the game. Some of the water puzzles get a little obtuse. but they're manageable. It's just like eventually, after staring at the same area for like maybe 5-10 minutes, it clicks, and you're like, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't press this button in this corner. Oh, there we go. So if you like the OG, or if you like the 2013 Tomb Raider, this is just a more refined version of that. If this wasn't your jam, I wouldn't recommend it. I definitely had more fun with this than I did with 2013 Tomb Raider. So I'll give it a solid 3 chairs.
Yeah. No, my biggest sticking point with the old one were the QTEs, and I still fucking hate them. I still hate how delivering the story through cutscenes, in this case, literally, it slows down the game. Oh, look at this cutscene. Look at it in its magnificent cinematic 30 FERPs. Yeah, no. The core gameplay, though, like Jordan already mentioned, it's, well, that's what made me give the previous game 3 chairs, and that's probably what's going to make me give this game at least those very same 3 chairs. The catharsis of seeing Lara get impaled again and again because the game didn't register my input, it's still very much there, and I think they realized this, so they now added a little buffer the couple of times you trigger, first couple of times you trigger a trap. The time slows down. It's like, oh, this is about to happen. Okay, all right. And you can, you learn from that. The rest of the gameplay is great. The DLC gives you plenty of stuff to do. If you like to min-max stats, you got the card system where you can make the game harder and get some bonuses, or make the game easier and lose some of the experience and other rewards that you were getting. I personally really enjoyed the zombie invasion thing that you're in Croft Manor and you have to defend it from the zombies. I very much like that. I still fucking hate the QTEs though. Fucking hate that noise. 3 chairs for me.
All right, well, that is 2 chairs for the fun segment, and that means that it is 2 chairs for the Strider for Rise of the Tomb Raider. So you got any final thoughts, ladies and gentlemen?
I look forward to playing it. This is the game that I've waited for 2 years, and admittedly, I'm grumpy, but anybody else who picked it up and is having issues with it is grumpy as well. So, I'm glad a lot of people are not having issues with it. And it looks great. What I have been able to play of it, I want to play more. So, I mean, I can't fault it for, like, anything other than just on the technical side. It's got some bugs, and they need to be addressed, like yesterday.
Absolutely, and it's good to have more Tomb Raider, because yes, the 2013 version that came out in 2016 on Linux was very good, or 2015. It was good, but it was very short, and there was a very clear dissonance between, we're telling you a story and you're supposed to be in a hurry and you need to get to places, but you're actively being rewarded for not going to those places. And here, this game seems to have fixed that issue. It's a much more improved, refined, better version of that old game, and I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh yeah, no, this game is a blast. The exploration is great. The combat's all right. Honestly, like I said, the best part is the exploration. If that was the part of the OG Tomb Raider that you found lacking, this game has it in spades.
The lack of raidable tombs, which were just optional in the last one.
Yeah, no, and now there's just like, yo, dog, I got a tomb inside your tomb, so you can tomb raid while you tomb raid. It's pretty great. There's all sorts of fun stuff to do. I definitely recommend picking it up. Maybe wait till it goes on sale, because also that'll give Feral some time to fix some of the very, very present bugs with it. Maybe improve a bit of the performance with the Vulcan as well. We were talking about that in the pre super shows, and you should check that out for your Patreon. There's a little plug for that. All right, coming up next, we got some more hate mail about Tomb Raider. We're not done.
You're welcome for that limiter, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.